All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Noragami, Season 1, Episode 12.
The Season 1 finale.
And we've got a confrontation with Nora, Rabo, Yato, and Yukine on the way.
Yep. Time for them to throw down.
Yeah, will that solve anything, though? Will
Hopefully.
it actually be a way that they can solve what's going on with Hiyori? Because
get her memories back.
In a lot of ways, this is something that I don't see as being one that's going to be solved via a sword fight or just a typical fight in general. Nora probably has the way to undo this, but she's probably going to want something from Yato.
Yeah.
And thus,
Yep.
Yato could win but still lose. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Because they're not fighting for anyone's life here. They're fighting for, in some ways, someone's
heart in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all based on the memory loss thing that, was the sudden surprise a couple episodes ago. But it's getting worse.
Right.
Yeah, it's
not a stagnant thing. If it was, they could just work around it.
Right,
but.
because you could see this as something where it's just going to be a sundering of the relationships in general, but yeah. This is more of a hey, you got to deal with Nora, Yato. This is something you can't
Your
run
ex
away from forever.
Causing too much trouble.
Yeah, and based on this being a finale, we could see some pretty absurd, pretty intense, pretty crazy results following this fight.
We also haven't really seen two gods of war / calamity throw down in ways where one of them might not care about the collateral damage.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So
in some ways, I kind of hope that Rabo ends up going a little crazy. Thus, we need reinforcements to come in and help things out. I really want Bishamon to come in. That would be excellent. Clutch and basically either stop the fight from happening at all, or end up just making things so complicated in general, with it being like a 1v1v1 even, that it then is one where Nora's like, this is too chaotic. I'm gonna
dip. Yeah,
I'm gonna dip, and then Rabo might want to keep things going, but she's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But okay, if anything, just Hiyori, stay far away from whatever's going down in this episode. Yeah,
gonna be okay.
So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right, well, we've got ourselves our finale. Rabo is now ended. His wish has been granted. It was to die at Yato's hand, which makes sense. Yep. It was something even I think they were hinting at just in general. And now Nora has been sent packing back to Daddy, apparently.
Yeah, which that is not at all disconcerting.
That's unnerving.
Like I loved Nora as the creepy force that she was in this show before. Now the idea that it's like, there's someone
connected to her
and beyond her, and
well, I mean, at the very least, just someone in a a familial role where there seems to be some superiority implied. It doesn't have to be that the father is stronger than her.
No, it doesn't. But at the very least, it's like, well,
what does a Regalia's father even look like?
Actually, yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah,
would it be her father from when she was alive, or would it be
definitely not?
Probably not.
No, it's probably more of just a role, and a title, than necessarily a literal father.
Maybe the god that first turned her into a Regalia.
And possibly, that could be a little creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fight in general was really well animated. It had some spectacular music tracks to it, multiple ones.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting from the presentation standpoint. I just have to say really quickly, I have some problems with the setup for this whole thing. I literally mentioned in the beginning of the thing here, I was like, just Hiyori, stay far away. But then they did the thing of where when she jumped towards them in the previous episode, we saw her land on the ground. And then in this episode, it was retconned that she teleported with them. which is just like okay, I'm fine with that. That's okay, sure. But then the other part was that Yato teleported here, and we don't know whose prayer brought him here. Mm-hmm. So I have to assume it's Rabo's.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring, is that it was
Because then
Rabo's.
how would he know where Rabo was in general? Like, Rabo didn't be like, meet me at my shrine, did he? Like,
maybe he could have been like, he's probably waiting at his shrine. We're old buds.
We're old buddies. Yeah, we know about him. That kind of makes sense too.
And he only had the one shrine, or something like that.
Right. But the idea that Hiyori would then, get there and stuff, and yet it wasn't shown that it was Rabo's, prayer or wish that brought him there.
And Yato didn't just, all right, hold a sec. Stay there.
That would have been so funny. I think what they wanted specifically with this episode is to basically show that Hiyori is going to get her memories back, so she needs to be here and involved in this thing. And she is important to Yato, so it is going to provide some dramatic tension. Mm-hmm. And then also she needs to be able to save Yato at some key point in the fight. Mm-hmm. So it's okay. But I feel like the finale in general could have hit harder if he didn't have to protect Hiyori, and it was more about him trying to protect Yukine from the implications of him going wild as a god of calamity. Mm. And that's the other thing. We didn't really learn anything about Yato's state. We don't know if he's forgot specific things there with regards to, who he was, which I'm guessing is not the case based on this fight. It's more of that he's moved on.
Yeah, and in that sense, it was really cool to see that it was this thing of, hey, I'm not that person anymore. Mm-hmm. I know we used to hang out and, raise hell, but sorry.
Yeah, I think if that's the answer that the episode is giving, that's a really good, complicated answer, because it's basically saying, hey, people change. And he's like, oh, we're gods. We don't change. Yeah. We're always going to be, beings of calamity. And Yato is basically...
It's part of our name and nature and all of that. Yeah.
Right. And then Yato, almost by omission of not really responding to that, is basically like, dude, you have no idea. Yeah. Like, forget about the past. It doesn't matter. I think that was his main line that he kind of said was like, the past doesn't matter anymore. And that's a really it's a really powerful thing to say. And I would say that in a lot of cases, it's maybe a bit too simple. But there is some power in it, in that when you cast off the past and say, in the present, that's all there is.
And in a lot of ways, it's rather pointed, given the fact that they're fighting for Hiyori's memories.
Right,
because,
that's true.
It very much felt like there maybe could have been some point where Rabo, and he kind of had this, right? And that's probably why he had this realization of, oh, it's all your fault, right?
Right.
And it turned into something of it went from realization to anger, and wanting to kill her.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would have loved if, and this isn't the direction I wanted to take Rabo, so cool, there you go. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to have seen something where there was a realization, not just that she is the cause of this, but that maybe this is the better, or this is not a weaker form of connection and things like that, because Yato is now in his sort of, just sort of goofing off and having fun.
Right.
That's still valid, right? And of course,
I don't think he would have learned that lesson, though.
Yes, and it wouldn't have made sense for him to learn that lesson, because one, he's a god of calamity, he's very old, so stubborn, stuck in his ways, and he literally brought his, Nora also kind of brought his body back, but it's in that state of not accepting the changing of things,
right. Yeah, he represents basically the one that is stuck in the past. So I don't think he would learn anything from the present. So he's not in the present. It was basically his whole thing of present is pain, at the very least. That's why he wants to die. He's like, I've been forgotten. There's nothing really left for me. In one aspect, there's something kind of sad about Rabo, and that is that when he came back, all the girls at the school were like, hey, you heard about Rabo? Mm-hmm. And is this idea of well, no, of course, none of them remember him or what have you.
Right.
But yeah, they do have people out there. They're going to be wishing for nasty wishes on people and stuff like that. So if you're only going to find satisfaction, Robbo, in having the past exploits and all that stuff that was tied to when you were, in your prime and stuff like that, you're basically like that 60-year-old, person who's doing all these crazy things in like the end stage of a midlife crisis where they're trying to hold on to even their midlife crisis of being like, I'm going to remember what it was like to be 23 and full of life and all that. And it's just like, oh man, move on. Move on.
You're missing the present.
Right. In some ways, the fact that he was back here, reawakened, if you will, by this curse, where it's not even him being alive right now. It almost feels weird that he's here. Like it.
And the fact that he is here,
Yeah.
Of course, he's not this kind of person, right? So that as the sort of precursor to what I'm about to say, but here's a friend that he hasn't seen in, hundreds of years?
Yeah.
Right? And he gets to see him again. And he's not at all focusing on the present in that, oh, hey, long time no see. What's been going on with you?
Yeah, exactly.
We need to get back to how things were back then.
Right.
So
it is a clear denial of reality, and in that respect, I could see some really cool. I could see some really cool parallels with what they're maybe setting up with Yato, in that one of the things that made Yato move on was that he became so disconnected from reality at some point that he had to cling to something simple and basic and so foreign from what he was used to.
Okay.
That he then basically about-faced perpendicular completely into I'm just going to do little things for people.
Right.
I don't really have any grand goal or what have you. I just have to break the pattern. So he so completely is disconnected from it that he hones in on something simple like, I'm going to write on bathroom stalls and do all this, simple stuff for people. And no, I'm not even going to get much for it. I'm just going to get 5 yen coins, and that'll be my thing. We've talked about the idea of Yato paying penance for this kind of stuff that he's done in the past. But if Hiyori is kind of the crux of the show, the story, then what she represents is basically just a present reality that is not one based around denial. It is just one about just accepting the present and then just living there. You can have friends. You can have connections. You don't have to sit there and wallow in your suffering and your regret and all that. You can just be a person and interact with others and make mistakes and do all these little things that make up life. And that's, I guess, what maybe they're going there for with Yato.
Yeah, because and I think that was kind of summed up with Hiyori's answer to Yato of,
oh, sure.
No, we're not cutting ties.
Right. Yeah.
And Yato's thinking, but it's dangerous, right? You almost got hurt seriously, if not killed, many times, over the last few days.
Yeah.
It's probably for the best. No, this is what I choose.
Yep. I choose this.
Yep. And I'm going to enjoy it. And you are too, damn it.
Yeah. I think what's really powerful about this is the "you should do this" statements when a character says that is oftentimes projecting a little bit of what they feel like they should do.
Right. I feel bad that I might cause you pain.
Right.
And maybe that's tied back to the whole thing of, I caused a lot of people a lot of pain a while ago.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that for anyone else, even if that means cutting off positive connections, cutting off connections that make me be a better person or God,
And, sorry, you don't get to choose that for other people, Yato. So,
nope.
You can deny the reality that they appreciate you and like you and really care about you, but that's not going to change what actually is, going on. So, good stuff.
But you can still deny Nora, and we encourage you to continue doing that.
At a consistent, extensive, thorough, all of the above.
And if anything, maybe that's one of the ways that Rabo also fits into Nora's story, because Nora is also someone who's clinging to the past. Yato, you used to wield me.
That's true.
We painted the town red.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that.
That's true.
No, not interested. Like I know it's not going to happen because Nora is just too twisted, too creepy, all of that stuff. But what if Nora ended up finding a place where she could belong, right?
That'd be
and
cool.
It was you don't need to be a stray regalia and doing all these like crazy things and stuff. What if you just hung out with me and Hiyori and Yukine and the other god of calamity, not really calamity, but basically,
right.
And just drank tea and talked about stuff, life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But
Immortality sucks, though. I'm just going to say, immortality sucks.
Immortality alone, especially.
I mean, yeah, but I'll just go out there and say
Immortality in general.
Just sucks. You've been around the block with enough fantasy stories. Immortality is balls. It's
mortality is the blessing that humans have been granted.
Exactly. It makes everything more valuable. All right. So we had our happy ending.
Yep.
We had our little family awkwardly hanging out and putting themselves upon Kuro, and you just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm
Right.
Yakuza dad," and okay, fine, we'll be here. I like you guys too, but
I loved the bit of Yukine, like blocking, like what was it? He pulled like a book or a magazine or something out of the way of like the glass that Kofuku knocked over, and it was like one of those things where it was. Like, it wasn't in the background because it was in the main focus of the shot, But it was just while other conversations and things were happening, and that was just something, a little bit of extra visual humor that was thrown in there, and I really appreciated that.
Which part?
Yeah,
about right here.
Yep, yeah. So Kofuku like dives forward, wow, knocks over, yeah, right. So she knocks over the glass, it spills onto the book, and then immediately Yukine's like, ugh, like trying to dry it off.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Kofuku ships them so hard.
Oh, definitely.
And just the way she says, I want to stay with you forever. And she's like, I didn't mean it like that.
Be with you forever. Like, no.
Yeah.
And
but
then
he
Yato,
does the I'll grant that wish bit.
while blushing and looking away, but like holding out his hand for the 5 yen coin, that was adorable.
That was so sweet.
We need more blushing, bashful male anime protagonists in general.
True.
Like
and like genuinely bashful, not just the I'm aroused,
Yeah, exactly. No, but that was something that was very sweet, and not just behind the whole facade of like I'm like or not facade, but the insecure protagonist. It's easier to have it for that. But like Yato's a certified badass, right?
Yeah.
Like he is a badass. So then haven't seen him be like, I mean, yeah,
Right.
I can grant that wish for 5 yen.
Yeah. It's in
Good
some
stuff.
ways it's the equivalent of like when Guts basically has that moment of like
Right, exactly.
because he doesn't blush, he basically like holds the back of his head, which is
He
a
does it in
total
a
like
much more
nervous,
gruff, manly kind of.
but he doesn't even look like that like bashful. He just kind of goes yeah, and that stuff is amazing. That stuff's
I love
wonderful. Okay, finale season 1 done. So now we're moving on to season 2.
Yep.
Season 2, I've heard has a good chunk of time in between when they made it and season 1, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be interesting to see what kind of maybe visual
pans
changes
out.
will be, or like
What cuts have been added?
yeah. There you go.
That didn't even work.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the first episode of season 2's episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general. And you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Yes, I wrote a sci-fi novel called Battle Lines. You know the deal. It's on Amazon. Links in the description. Go check it out.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see it there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb,
I'm Jacob.
and we'll see you all
Next time.